guys, welcome back to another speed build. Today we're going to be building a 1960s inspired beach house. It's kind of going to be one of the collection that go with the Tropical Getaway and the Bahia beach house that are already on my gallery. It's built in the same spot as one of them, just strictly because if you guys were watching my last few videos, you'll know that my whole game was wiped because of my own need to tamper with things, so it's my fault, but this is going to essentially go with those other two. Same sort of beachy style, however this one's very vintage or retro, you could say. So you'll see I use the fence in the front there. I love that fence, and I couldn't figure out why for the longest time, and then I realized it's very hard to use in a modern build without it looking really dated or retro, and that's exactly what it is. So I thought, we're going to throw it in here. It's going to be absolutely perfect. Ideally, I would have liked to use it as some sort of foundation. Like, it'd be really cool if I could pull out that deck to overlap onto that deck. Since they're like the same height, it would have looked really neat, but I can't do that, obviously, because you have to build on rooms or section flooring, but you know, whatever. I made it this blue color, the one you see me changing it to now, kind of like a tealy, aqua-y, chlorinated pool color, and it stays that color. It's really, I like it. I think it's a perfect color for a beach place. I do have a sim that goes with this build, which I've called Breakfast at Audrey's. Hint, hint. The sim's name is Audrey. Her last name is Cortez. She's also up on the gallery. These two, the sim and the build, are linked, so you should be able to find them easily on the gallery by searching my origin ID, Audryce, same as this channel, and it should pop up together, or you can just scroll down and look for it, or search Breakfast at Tiffany's, or not Breakfast at Tiffany's. You could do that if you want to. Stuff might come up that's your fancy, I guess, but it's Breakfast at Audrey's. You'll see now I've given it away where that inspirations come from, because it's one of my favorite movies. I love it. But it's Breakfast at Audrey's, and the sim's name is Audrey Cortez. If I didn't already say that, I might have already said that. And the at is actually an at sign. It's not AT. Just keep that in mind. It is hashtagged with an at though, so it should still pop up, but I don't know. I'm no tech guru. It might not. And we're just doing a little bit of landscaping here. I had a very clear picture in my mind of what I wanted the build to look like, so it was actually a pretty quick build. Like, we knocked this out in under 20 minutes, sped up, obviously. Like, the total footage time was 2 hours, which is really good for me because I am very slow, as I've stated before in other speed builds. So we get this all whacked out in one go. The roof for this was really tricky because it didn't spawn floor tiles, so what I had to do is extend kind of a flooring square and then put a diagonal roof where I wanted it and get rid of the other flooring bits. So I don't know if you guys wanted to remove that roof, how hard it would be. You should just be able to click on it and it should go. I wanted to do it a little outside seating area. Concrete walls or big foundations and things is something that really speaks 1960s to me. Like, a lot of 1960s houses as left to their original state are pretty ugly. There's a lot of the sand siding, and I kind of wanted to capture the essence of that. It is modernized slightly. Like, when we get into the inside and we really start looking around, I have gussied it up, I guess you could say, but it still holds a lot of the traditional 1960s flair without being ugly. I wanted it to be a sympathetic renovation. You'll see there's kind of terracotta tiles that are on the decks on the front and the back. I actually really like the way those look because it dates the house well, actually. To me, it doesn't look awful. It's if you pair it carefully with things around it. So we're gonna go inside now. This does become a 1-bed, 1-bath bungalow style. I have made it, if I can remember now, I think it's a party place, convivial, and has a sunny aspect to it, so it should be really good for party animal sims and entertaining. The one thing I actually now wish I had added in this that I didn't is a hot tub in the back, but you could. I mean, later on we do put a pool in the back, so even if you wanted to knock out that seating area in the undercovered section in the backyard, you might be able to squeeze a hot tub in there. I should have maybe tried to do that, but I mean, it's too late now. Next time, next build. Playing with the roofs here, I didn't want it to be extremely boxy, but I also didn't want it to look ridiculous, like all the roofs were afterthoughts. And of this decade, I feel like there were points where you would have flat roofs here and there, sort of mid-century modern. So I did do that on the bump out to the bedroom because I wanted to wrap the windows around at that certain level. I think it looks really mid-century. Here I thought, yeah, let's make it look dated inside, and I quickly do change that. I was going to make it look really, really 60s, like it hadn't been touched, but like bad 60s. And then I realized there's just not enough resources in the game. If it was The Sims 3, then yeah, we'd be laughing because we could use, what is it, 70s, 80s, and 90s stuff, or whatever the decade pack was. And then there's so many patterns you can make anything look hideous, essentially. Pretty gross. I take out that half wall there. I was going to use it as a little separator because half walls to me do seem like they would be in some sort of mid-century build. I just got rid of them because the counters look better as they are. I did use that orangey color because it goes both ways. It's a little bit dated. Countertops are brown, but it holds that kind of modern flair to it. So I really liked the way it looked. I didn't want to have like super hella modern appliances, so they're kind of mid-range. This wallpaper that came in vintage glamour stuff, perfect. Absolutely perfect. As soon as I put that on the wall, I knew right away where I was going with the rest of the build. I put it in the bedroom. I just loved how it looked. It couldn't have been more perfect. At the point that I am recording this, I haven't yet play tested. That's the next thing on my docket once I'm finished recording this, is to play test, make sure that computer desk does work that's jammed in the corner of the hallway. I wanted the hallway to be separated from the rest of the living space because it's just too open to the kitchen if you didn't have that wall. I didn't like the idea of having a kitchen right off the bedroom. So that was kind of an interesting way to A, make some more wall space for the TV, and B, keep things a little bit more private, especially if it's going to be like a party house. My sim, Audrey Cortez, is a party animal. That's her main aspiration. So I envision a lot of parties being had at this place. So that's the thing. You don't want people just like wandering in and out of your bedroom doing whatever. It's nice and segregated. Looking for some wall art here. It's very hard to find decade-y centric wall art in this game. And actually, now that I think about it, I should have at some point used the vintage glamour clock. It's kind of like it got little spikes on it. Looks like a sun. Didn't even think of it. I may go back and add that before I upload it to the gallery. I might not. Depends if I actually remember or if I find a place that it goes, because there's not a lot of wall space in this build. There's a lot of windows, not a lot of wall space. So this table, I'm still not 100% on this table, but again, there's a lot of tables that don't fit the bill of mid-century modern or 60s. There's the other ones that are glass top that are from, I think they're called the Ultralux collection. Like if you Google it, or not Google it, but search it by category, or Cosmolux, that's it. They're nice, but I find I use them too much in conjunction with those cabinets and countertops, the bar stools that I already have, the couches. Like it's just kind of like a package deal. I want it to be a little bit different. So I decided to go with that sort of other table. But I mean, easy change out if you guys don't like it. Here I'm trying to play with the cupboards up top. Eventually I abort mission and go back to how they were because it's just not working for me. I threw the sink in beside the fridge and there was a microwave there. I kind of picked a bit of a dated one, like, you know, last minute addition to the kitchen, or it was left behind before Audrey moved in and the owners bought it in the 60s. And here I'm trying to find beds, and I don't know what it is about beds in this game, but nothing matches with anything else. They're very, very hard to pick, I guess you can say. It's like what's the less of two evils, or lesser of two evils? What could I get away with that's close enough to what I want? It's never like, oh yeah, that's my jumping off point, I'm going to design around that. You just can't. Nothing goes with anything. So I settled on that bed that you see shoved off to the side, and then I went back to this one and thought maybe I can throw in some pink into this room somewhere, because the pinstriping on the pillows and the sheets sort of match the color on the wallpaper. So I do that. The dresser, however, absolutely hits the mark for 1960s, I feel, or 1950s. I mean, it's all pretty general. I didn't do any research on this build. I just did it for the way I expect in my mind that 1960s would look. So take that with a grain of salt. If you're like, that's more of like a 1952 design, then fine, take it out of the build. It's okay. I'm not going to be offended, but I love this build. I'm really, really happy with how it came out. We don't have any decade packs, so you do what you can. These lamps too, vintage glamour stuff actually had a lot of things that, hey, vintage, keyword there, really fit the bill. Also, in houses like this, I find there's a lot of like this color wood grain. Like you see the shelf I put underneath the window. I think that's kind of a mid-century thing to have those sorts of shelves. So I chucked those in and popped a couple of things on them. They overlap slightly, so you might get that weird texture competition flashy glitch that happens. But again, you can take them away if you want to. You saw there quickly the little computer that's shoved at the end of the hall. That may or may not be there in the end build. We'll see if it does function. I don't know, because I do want my build to be play tested. I'm putting vines. Yeah, the vines that came in, which pack was it? Vampires. On the wall, and then some of the original ones that came with a game, I think. I don't even remember where those ones came from. But they don't go as low as the foundation. So I found a trick that if you go right over to the corner, oh, here's me trying to see what it's going to look like from different angles on the gallery window. I found out that if you take the bushes and you bring them over to the corner of the foundation, then they will drop down a little bit, but as soon as you go over, they'll go back up to the top of the foundation, if you know what I mean. Putting in the pool here, use some more of that fence because it looks really aged. The hexagonal shape of the pool I felt was really 60s as well. If you guys can hear it clinking, I keep hitting the cord on my headphones, so sorry about that. Putting in some landscaping here. I went with a lot of tropical foliage, same as in the Bahia Beach house and tropical getaway builds. Just trying to get the shape right on how I wanted it. Did that over quite a few times, but we get there in the end. I do use a lot of rocks as well, but it's coming along. Like I don't think I could have made it any more perfect in my mind, except for as an afterthought, if I was on a bigger lot, if I had built this on a larger lot than it is, I think I might have tried to do a carport just for aesthetic reasons. A lot of these houses, the roof line's just extended over a little carport, and then I could have enlarged a toy car and put it in there. Or even, you know what, used one of the garage door type art canvasy things that came in City Living as a little garage. But I never did that. It could have been a really cool workshop. So if you guys do put this on a larger lot and give that a try, tweet me. Let me know what you did. I mean, that goes for all of my builds. If you do your own modifications or are using it in your game, tweet me a link. My Twitter username is Audryce. It's official Audryce. I had to change it recently because I didn't like what it was and it was bothering me, so I changed it to official Audryce because, believe it or not, somebody else has Audryce. I did not think it was a common name, but apparently it is. So that's that. So tweet me at official Audryce, send me pictures, and let me know what's what. I don't use Facebook, so you won't find me on there. It's strictly just Twitter and The Sims for gallery, and here on YouTube if you leave a comment down here, I'll see it as well. So I had to change out the mirror in the bathroom because I didn't realize it was a smidgen too long in there, but that's fixed, so I did a wall of mirrors instead. This plant was perfect for 1960s. I just feel like it couldn't have got any better. I liked it so much that I actually put one on the front deck as well. Not there quite yet. I wasn't 100% happy with those lights though. They don't scream the decade that I want, but everything else was very traditional, I found. I love these chairs. Use the outside bench. I wanted kind of something with an ugly pattern on it, just as an homage to trends past. Putting in a ton of foliage now so that it blends in with the other two builds in the, let's say, collection. And I use some of those, I say new, they're new since I did the last few builds. Those ones from Romantic Garden Stuff, the white spriggy bits that are a bit taller. Palm trees, need those. I don't know what these kind of trees are called, if they're palm trees as well, like the stocky ones, but I'm sure it says if I scroll over in the tree section, but I didn't look. So that's that. Throwing in a whole bunch of foliage. Like this would be a nightmare to garden, which is probably why it looks so overgrown, is because you get to a point you're like, I can't be bothered. It is what it is. Hey, do you think I could get through one video without saying it is what it is? I feel like that's going to become my accidental motto. I don't want it to, though. So I'm going to have to, like, figure out a different way of saying things, because that's always my default. And I don't want to say it every single video all the time. It's very hard, actually, to stuff foliage right against a foundation because it always wants to jump up if it's more than one hitbox big, or if you have it on a diagonal even, it won't sit properly. So a lot of it is hanging out farther than I would probably like. We're getting close to the end here, just finishing up the landscaping. We put a bunch of rocks in. Rocks become a big theme in the yard as well. The dirt was quite deserty, quite orange. I think it's actually the desert sand texture, but I like kind of the contrast with the rest of the colors in the house, and especially the tiles on the deck. So I left it as is. It might be a little bit different than the other two builds, but that being said, if you download this house, you're not necessarily going to download the other two, so it's not a big deal. And you don't really see a lot of it because there are so many flipping flowers on this lot. Hopefully there aren't very many that clip through the walls. I've tried my best, but I probably have missed some. But I mean, I'm human. What can you do? Other than that, like I said, there's not much I would have changed about this build. You can see me trying to fix some clipping right there. And then we're going to put a little bit of decoration in this corner because it was looking a little bland. A little potted plant there. We put a barbecue in this corner and a little table to hold all of the condiments that you would need. There's not any outside dining area. I just imagine that they would all congregate in that little alcove on the comfy seats. Informal style. Here I'm actually doing the large rocks. This is the same as the Tropical Getaway build too. It was a go-to. It was the first thing that came to mind, so I just went with it, and it worked out really well. I do move where the palm tree is in the front. I put it to one side and move it to the other side because it blocks the house when you're looking at it in the picture gallery. Also, too, if you do go to the Sims 4 gallery and you look it up, I did not plan this house correctly in the fact that I thought the pictures that it auto-generates would come from the left of the house. They actually come from the right, so those 3 palm trees that are all clumped together in the front block some of the inside view of the house. But hopefully if you came from here, you have seen what the inside looks like and you know that it's awesome and worth downloading. So you'll hit that download button or favorite it at very least, something like that. If you do like it, save it for later. I know not everyone's going to want to use something they like right away because they won't have a reason to, and you can only download so much stuff or else you end up completely clogging your game, and that's not cool. Put a little garbage area here, a little bit of tile, blended it in with some dirt to make it look like, the grass had overgrown a little bit on it. And then we're pretty much done at this point. We're just going to change up a little bit of the entryway, add some shoe racks, and a little bit of decoration on that blank patterned wall. We're going to throw in a bookshelf, and I did struggle with the wall art a little bit. I went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on how I wanted it, because we have those vintage glam, big, humongous pictures of the women with the red lipstick, and I thought that is so 60s to me. I want it in this build. Even if I didn't really use red, I still really want it in this build. But I was having a bit of a conundrum. So one of the wall art pieces that was pretty important, that one there you can see on the wall, the big painterly one, it goes. If you don't like what I've done, you can always switch it back to what it was, this one. Like, I absolutely love that picture, and I think it adds so much character. Like, it's not kind of an IKEA straight from the box house. It's kind of found pieces, which I really like. I threw that in, and I wanted this bookshelf. I thought, this is perfect. But where do I put this big ass picture now? So, flopping it around, trying it on different walls, tried with a little bookshelf, didn't like that. I really wanted that bookshelf, so I eventually do compromise on the big picture, which you'll see in a second here. I'm just moving it around right there, and that's where it stays. And I really, really love it. I really love it. I kind of wish I had that in my own house. But, I mean, you can't have everything. You cannot have everything. We're at the end of the build, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to go into some screenshots now. Give it a like and a comment, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!